wife's so smart. Well, this was when I was drunk that day. Was when this was redeemed that we're doing. So she says that it was the epic intro. So we're gonna give the epic intro. The like Fun Friday one, if you guys do that one, that's just gonna be normal. It's just gonna be all right. In the bottom left hand corner, playing as the red Protoss, we have Descent.
And in top right hand corner, playing as the blue Protoss, this is Phasmatis.
Got the fancy pants spinning and everything. All right, a very traditional gateway coming out of Phasmatis. Descent, throwing down the pylon at the natural expansion, potentially looking to a wall, is very late on this. And goes for a gateway into a forge. Phasmatis, very traditional, going for a double gateway expand. Well, potentially expand. The probe is there, ready to do it. Yep, exactly. So 2 gates, cyber, expand. Very, very nice build coming out of Phasmatis. Protoss doing a little bit more of my build, a little bit late on it, as he did build the first pylon over here. So the gateway and the cyber are a little bit late, but gateway into forge and the cyber. Yes, Lord Shed. It would be. The location is a little non-traditional, but the build itself is very traditional. 2-gate, cyber expand, very Protoss versus Protoss oriented. Very, very common meta build. The location was the only thing in question, though. Mattis, with the nice economy, could still use a couple workers here. Only has 14. Worker production was stopped just a little bit. And 2 stalkers out in the field, ready to defend, sitting at that front wall. Little does Mattis know that Protoss is really far behind. The red Protoss is really far behind. Has no units out to defend. Both players going for the Twilight. Phasmatis at the moment is just about 30 seconds ahead of his opponent on everything. Has more workers out. Has the Twilight out faster. Has started the Robo. We'll see if red throws down a Robo here as well. Oh, here comes some additional gateways. Ooh, a little bit of a variation between these 2 players. Mattis on 3 gateways already. Descent going into 4 gateway production is opting to skip the Robo, but does have charge in production. Unfortunately, he also still has warp research in production, so the overall amount of units thus far is very, very low for our red player. Outnumbered 4 stalkers to 2. 2 zealots and a sentry on the map for Mattis as well. His army is way, way stronger. Oh, the probe. Not quite mining out the minerals properly for our red player. Meanwhile, Mattis doing a good job. It is a little supply block. But now that that's cleared up, has an observer on the way. Would love to see Immortals and a warp prism being warped in immediately after this. Charge also about halfway done. Is the first thing that is behind his opponent this entire game. Here we go. The Robo being built for our red Protoss player as well. Charge nearly finishing up. So it'll be about 30 seconds where Mattis will be behind on the charge upgrade. But with no Robo on the field, for our red player. I don't think Mattis really has to worry about this too much. The observer coming in, looking for information. We'll see what Mattis, that's not Mattis, what Mattis is able to discover. Walks in range of the cannon, gets the observer out just barely. Oh, here we go. We see the robo. Mattis not paying attention to the rest of the base, though. Is rallying workers into the middle of the field for some reason. Oh, and Mattis has yet to discover the Dark Shrine. Following his camera right now, the observer is in the main base, but has not quite yet discovered what's going on. Fixing the probe rally. Oh no, Mattis just still this entire time has not discovered anything. Red with lots of charge lots, an observer of his own. Mattis looks like he kind of F2'd. Ends up pulling the observer back, and I don't think it ever saw. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. I'm getting my colors mixed up. The Dark Shrine is just not going down. It was Mattis that had the Dark Shrine. I'm losing my mind. I understand. Forgive me, Mattis. I'm sick today. I'm not putting my best brain forward. The whole time I thought Mattis was looking for a Dark Shrine, but it was Mattis with the Dark Shrine. Mattis moving out with a very large army across the map. Now there is a Dark Shrine building for the Protoss. These two players building almost identically. But despite being identical in nature, Mattis is playing it a little bit better and is a little bit ahead in everything. Now there are more charge lots for the red players, so this is going pretty well for the defense on Descent's part. Mattis being forced back. Nice little engagement though. The Immortal finally here with the rest of the army. Was a little behind, could have helped a lot during that previous fight. Would still love to see a War Prism out of Mattis. More Zealots and Immortals sitting here just doing nothing. Descent finally taking his third. Again, first kind of big thing where he's ahead of Mattis. The charge, he was ahead, but it wasn't really a big thing. Getting this base up this much earlier, though, is absolutely huge. Mattis will fall behind economically as mineral patches are already missing from the main. The natural will last for another 2 minutes or so before they start losing patches, but without a third and a fourth going down, the economy is going to take a hit. Mattis, though, still nice production, is ahead 20 supply on his opponent. A little bit supply blocked at the moment. Red, only half of his available supply being utilized. Is both a good and bad thing, as he's not supply blocked. He has the options to expand, but has spent so many extra resources in just preparing for the next part of the game. He's not really prepared for this part of the game, as Mattis is still ahead in supply. Potentially still a little too stalker heavy, not enough Zealots, but with these two Immortal in this army, I do think that Mattis has a clear advantage. Unfortunately, with Mattis keeping these over here, a lot of the excess army supply is actually just wrapped up in these two Immortal, 4 supply each. So overall, these armies are relatively the same strength. There we go. There we go. The Immortal finally getting pulled by Mattis, reaching the middle of the map with the rest of the forces. Descent about to get his +2 upgrades. Mattis also nearly done with the +2 attack upgrades as well. Descent also working on armor and shields though, with 2 Colossus in production. Mattis is missing his window of opportunity to attack. A proxy pylon going down towards the bottom of the map. Descent kind of looking like he might want to pressure. Starts to position himself forward. Decides to fall back. He's like, okay, I'm just going to defend this 4th base. And Mattis with just non-stop production has another immortal walking across the field. Another observer. Again, would love to see warp prisms so that reinforcements could be warped into the front lines. But despite not having one, Phasmatis feels comfortable moving forward. The observers see the army. Descent not really reacting. Phasmatis kills all of the observers. Has no Dark Templar in the army, but would benefit hugely if there were. Both players have a Dark Shrine available. And now that all the observers are dead, 3, 4, 5, 6 Dark Templar would just shred through this army. And as I say that, another observer for Descent pops out, is ready to protect the army. And Mattis, with a 30 supply advantage, is looking very strong in this position. Dark Templar coming out for Descent. The Colossus getting lots of splash damage in the forward blink. Descent using all the Dark Templar to turn into Archons. This was not the time to do this, as the army is jumping on Descent. The Immortal shredding through the Stalkers, taking out the Archons as well. Now there's Stalkers for Mattis in the back. Mattis with nice control pulls away the low health Immortal. Ooh, we'll lose these two on the... Oh, we'll not lose these two on the left. Once again, very nice control from Mattis. He manages to keep everything alive. And with excellent micro, Mattis has taken a swift advantage. Blink back on a few of these Stalkers. 1 or 2 will go down. The Immortal does finally die over there. But the charge lots are enough to hold the line. And the 4th base will go down. Phasmatis taking the lead as his 4th base is now established also on the other side of the map. Ooh, another Immortal goes down. The shield battery overcharge. Trying to keep some of these units alive. Unfortunately for Descent, all of his units are outside of the range of the shield battery, so he's not really benefiting from this. Mattis continuing to apply pressure. Another Immortal over on the map is not being used, but with enough Stalkers here, Phasmatis is cutting through the Stalker defense of his opponent. Does need to see a little blink, get these charge lots in there. Ooh. More Stalkers coming to reinforce. The Zealots engaging once again in epic battle on this ramp for the red player. The blink to cut off the retreat. Excellent work from Phasmatis. The full surround and the retreat block. Focusing down the pylons, now shutting down one of the gateways. Lots of charge lots coming in, but they're being funneled into this one little spot between the cyber and the gateway, or the gas rather. Only get 1 Stalker. Do get the Immortal on the other end, and now they have a little bit of a surround on the Stalkers. More Stalkers from Phasmatis will go down. Descent holding the line pretty well thus far. But Dark Templar come in and they immediately begin to tear through these charge lots. As more Stalkers come in as well. There are no observers on the map for Descent at this moment. 2 are in production, but until they're out, there's no way to see these 2 Dark Templar, and these 2 Dark Templar are enough to just absolutely shred through his opponent. Phasmatis blinking aggressively once again onto the Archons. Almost lost a Stalker for it, but managed to keep it alive. A couple observers warp in, some Zealots warp in, kill a couple of the Stalkers. Phasmatis using his Stalkers to try to focus on the observers. Kinda keeps letting them get away, just barely. But Mattis doing a fantastic job focusing down the Nexus. Zala's being warped in the back, but it just does not matter. GG is called. Descent gets decimated as Phasmatis shows excellent control and wonderful gameplay. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Well played. I know I am the best. Exactly. Exactly. Was an excellent job, Mattis.